All right, there's some publicity money just can't buy.
Without a doubt, a handful of brands spent a lot of time in the spotlight this past week during the Pope's visit to the U.S.
All right, Alison Morris joins us now to talk about the impact of having a product that is pontiff approved, of course. Fiat. Who would ever talk about Fiat more in their life than this past week?
Seriously, but this is a tricky thing, guys, because, you know, the Pope is very anti-capitalism, so being linked to a guy who's really not into big business, that could be a little bit of a difficult balance. But you mentioned it, companies like Fiat and their eco-friendly 500 car, for them, being pontiff approved can be very profitable.
Most brands were careful to stay out of this and really not use the Pope to try to sell product.
James Fox, CEO of brand strategy firm Red Peak, says it's risky business trying to make money off of the Pope. But a few brands will likely get a boost from the Pontiff's U.S. trip.
I think we may see a Francis effect on Fiat. He famously drove the 500. And we know that when he was in Brazil in 2013, Fiat saw a spike in sales after he left. But I think that will probably be the biggest winner of the Pope and his branding.
Still, Fiat steered clear of using social media to promote their brand while the Pope was in town.
Fiat actually had 2 tweets, which they removed. And a DC Fiat dealer tweeted, "If it's good enough for the Pope, it's good enough for you." But they kept a pretty tight rein on their social media. 20% of all their social media chatter that day, though, was about the Pope.
Loom and Leaf let everyone on Twitter know that the Pope was sleeping on their eco-luxury mattress during his visit, and Fox says their approach worked.
They chose not to use his image, but to use his hat. But they're a small brand, and I think small brands can get away with that. I think the larger brands would have a harder time using his likeness or using his name in a commercial message.
Another big winner, American Airlines.
American Airlines got it exactly right. They flew him in. They rebranded the aircraft Shepherd 1 as opposed to Air Force 1. And they tweeted a little bit about it, but they did it in a respectful way and one that I think will have a lot of positive brand associations for them moving forward.
But the best brand in all of this? Pope Francis himself.
The fact that he chose to stay humble, the fact that he was clearly there for the people and not for the big leaders, all helped express his real brand essence of humble goodness.
Now, Jeep was also the official brand of the Pope Mobile, but don't exactly expect a big surge in Jeep sales because it's not like you can go to the store and buy the Pope Mobile. But as James Fox says, it was still positive for Jeep to be associated with Pope Francis. And since they're owned by Fiat Chrysler too, it is safe to say that company got an unbelievable amount of good free advertising.
They had the
last
opposite week that Volkswagen had, for sure. That was the polar opposite.
That's the best way to describe it, Steve.
Indeed.
But
Good
that
stuff.
Fiat, it looked good. Thank you.